Okay, so I'm looking at everything. Everything looks like it should be working. Hopefully it is. Welcome in. Good to see you all. It's day 3 of DefenseCon. We have Origin, we have Drake. Sorry, we don't have Drake. We have Origin, we have RSI, we have Cruiser. Drake was a couple of days ago. We're all good, but good to see you all. And you guys have been busy in chat without me. So yeah, I feel like you guys have kind of covered it. That's it for the stream. Really good to see everyone. I'm only kidding. Good to see everyone. Good to see. Takes deep breath. I'm going to have to go right back to Luna. Good to see you. To Richard Scarlett. To Marcus. To Chief. Takes even deeper breath because I'm just making sure I haven't missed anyone. AV. Hello, buddy. Stunner. And to Space Saga, to Viper Leo, Jukester, Arcade, and everyone else that's in. Really good to see you. Carol, Corald, Calco. Yeah, we've got a little bit to talk about. So, I've got some stuff up on the screen over here, and what I'm going to do is we are going to jump straight into it all, because we've only got about 13 minutes. If all being well, they go live today. So let's have a look at what's in store. So, very, very quickly then, we're coming off of the Drake Interplanetary and Grey's Market. We're going to have a look at that in just a moment. Into Origin, Robert Space Industries, Kruger Intergalactic, and because it's DefenseCon, because they're doing this slightly differently, we know now that they released all the ships that we're getting beforehand, or they at least let us see them. So today will be the Origin Jumpworks M80 heavy fighter, we believe. So yeah, some interesting stuff that's going to come from that. Origin's not necessarily the first manufacturer you'd think of if you're thinking about heavy fighters. But that's what's coming. The reason I'm kind of rushing through is I just wanted to say now, the Grey's Market side is today's daily war bond deal. Okay, so it's the Shiv, and the Shiv is down to $135 from $150. So obviously they changed daily, and because I didn't go live yesterday, we didn't get a chance to talk about it because I only do like the launch days. Otherwise, I'm just kind of dead at the end. And then a quick reminder, 4 hours on Twitch watching SC will get you the flight suit, the special themed one, of which I'm sure there are many. So there's that. So let's have a look at what chat's got to say then. So the Wolf was my first fighter, said Chief Paranoid. I like the question I like is, will the M80 replace it? On paper, a bed and 2 SCU would be better, but it depends how she flies. Rich Scout says, SC still has so much potential, but they're leaving so much on the table. Should be able to mix and match the systems and components on the ship to suit what your own need and users' needs are. Yeah, so the components obviously we can switch out. They do have the variants and stuff which kind of lock you in. 4 p.m. release, yes. So Captain, yes it is. So it's 4 p.m. UTC. So it's 5 p.m. British Standard Time, which is what we're coming up in about 11 minutes. So I'm really pleased we got through all of that, the intro, the who's coming up, and the fact that, as we've said, the War Bond daily deal today is the Shiv, down to, as I said, $135, and you've got precisely 11 minutes. If that's useful for you, then great, but I just wanted to make sure that people knew that was there. Something else that's really interesting, I think, to look at this point is like what it does in terms of the funding. Okay, so for example, in terms of days, they made 3.2 million on Thursday. They made just over 2 mil yesterday. So between the Pitbull, the Ironclad Assault, the Corsair, that was the daily war bond deal, and whatever else they've sold, they've actually made a ridiculous amount of money and put us almost 5 mil more. And obviously this is the funds raise is updating the days, isn't, so it's more like 6 mil, closer to that $100 billion crowdfunding goal that means absolutely nothing, but I'm sure media will make it out to be that anyway. M80 has a beautiful profile. It does. I definitely did try to include that in the profile, Lena, because everyone's seen like the side of it, but that top down, especially kind of like the engine arrangement at the back, looks great, and it's going to be interesting to see that. So yeah. The side view is much better, says Socially. Carol says the Lumen Stingray release makes me hold off on the M80 trigger, grabbing a CCU. That's it. Interesting. Stunner, huge Origin fan here. Obviously, the M80 is gorgeous. Obviously, is it obvious? Is it obvious, Stunner? Not that you're a fan, that it's something that should be a fan of. I don't know. I don't know. Not sold. I'll be getting it, but honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the floor door, and at least for Origin, I feel all weapons should retract. I hate that this ship is Origin because I want it, says Charlie. Welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. Yeah, side view is the profile, and I think it looks really good, says Luna. Yeah, absolutely. And it's here in just a moment. So before we change over and everything goes nuts and we get the YouTube video and everything else that I'm kind of thinking we'll get, we'll just have a chat through the finances very quickly. I didn't. So I started watching the Star Citizen live yesterday socially when I had gone to bed and then fell asleep. So it's been a bit of an interesting one, but I will catch up. I know I'm being lax. We'll talk about that in a little while. But yeah, so that's where we are with day. The hour one is also quite interesting because as it goes on here, you can see why the whole limited ships have been released. So, obviously, yesterday we had the Kraken Privateer launching. In fact, no, it isn't it? Because we've missed that window. So that spike at 9 o'clock in the morning was for no reason at all. Interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, obviously it's all Sunday. We won't see what the week's damage was, but it's going to make this look a lot flatter, this part, than it was before. So there we go. Half of the M80 is gorgeous, says Socially. Oof. Oof. So there we go. And we'll see what comes out of the next bit today. So on the funding tracker itself then, just a very quick look. This is the Tableau funding tracker that enables us to compare kind of year on year and month on month. Already a significant amount of the way into May, $9 million so far. So that's kind of crazy. A heavy fighter with the inside look of a nightclub lounge. Interesting, Socially. Pill Stator says, love boat. I mean, why not? Why not? Hopefully I've said that right, mate. If I've not, I do apologise. So that's where we are at the moment. And then, for some reason, we've got that page up. That's fun. But the DefenseCon page. So I was flicking through my hangar and trying to make sure that I'd updated all the CCUs, and I haven't quite yet. Okay, quick poll. Oh my god, that was a little bit of a Freudian slip. I think let's do a quick poll. This is going to be something you weren't expecting. Okay, what is Badger's drinking? We have two choices. Okay, so what am I drinking for the stream? All right, because I'm shattered and alcohol will affect me badly. And I know what you lot are like. You're awful. I have a can of Diet Coke, nice and cold. We could do that. Or I have a still frosty bottle of Weston's from the fridge. And I could do that too. So, your call. What am I drinking? Am I being good? Am I not? Is it caffeine or alcohol? What's my vice today? You guys let me know. I'm just going to make sure I know what the thing is. Weston's is cider, mate. Weston's is cider. So you guys decide what I'm driving, or drinking rather. It's kind of like rocket fuel. It's like 8.2%. YouTube, to be clear, no money is changing hands for this. So you can't ban me. This is just me deciding what to drink. It's the choice anyway. This early, start with the Coke, then the booze. What, 5 p.m.? Early, AV. You take yourself around the back and have a word with yourself. Sounds like the Diet Coke's in the lead, so okay. Whatever's in the lead when it comes to drink, I'll be there. Okay. It's a heavy with a bed and 2 SCU storage, says Charlie. I love my Guardian Queen because of the bed logging, and this adds bigger guns and storage. I'm assuming that's an either-or situation for you, Charlie, not both, right? If it does and they don't add a drop-down disco ball, Stunner will be disappointed. I think I know which way that's going, mate. I've got a prediction. M80 is a portion of a stick of dynamite, so naturally the back half already looks blown up. Wow. Some love and then some not love for it. So there we go. The inside looks like a death trap. The floor is stairs, and then the walls are components which will catch on fire. And the interior is a. I'm going to go with incinerator there, mate. Let's go with that. You can have your own Viking funeral whilst still fighting. That sounds very Viking, right? Going downhill and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so just while we're talking, we're waiting for everything to change over. I'm just going to pull up YouTube on the other screen, which is why I've just been flashbanged again. And what we'll do is we'll wait for, see if there's a video, see if there's some sort of supporting kind of video with the M80. I would imagine it's going to be just a trailer. I don't think we're going to get anything more detailed than that, especially seeing as it's Saturday. But hey, we live to be surprised, right? We'll see what comes up. So I'll keep that up on the other screen as well, and we'll see what happens. If you guys want to do the F5 wars, then by all means, and just give me a shout when it happens. So here's the interesting thing. It's something I've not thought about yet. Is Drake only on sale? I know you only get the daily war bonds each day, but is Drake on sale for the entire event? Or is it only on sale for the days that it's on? Oh, yes. I said nothing of the sort, Richard, and you can't prove otherwise. But oh God, I hope I didn't. I am tired that it is enough that it is entirely possible. So yeah. Supporting supporting. That's what I was trying to say. I was going to say supporting documentation because my brain is not yet kicked out of work mode, despite the fact that it's Saturday evening. But there we go. The M80 lacks a suit locker, a bathroom, proper living quarters. It's a no for me. Yeah, I mean it's a heavy fighter, right? So it's not going to have those things, or it'll be very rare for that sort of class of ship to have that. Welcome in, John. Gladiator Eclipse bomb racks, but now my Spirit A1 doesn't have a niche anymore. Yeah, I mean I still think the Spirit A1's quite nice as dedicated. Especially seeing as all the stuff's on the inside. I'm still a fan of the A1 in the bomber role. I think I quite like it. They made trailers for each new ship in DefenseCon. Did they? Are they all been released? Am I just being blind and missing it, Pilgrim? Again, entirely possible. Shattered. It's DefenseCon, no rules for sales. I like exactly that, right? Everything should be that. They stay available, just no war bond offerings. No, absolutely. The only reason I say that, and I don't know, I'm probably going to upset some people, right? There is one ship in here that I keep thinking about, despite the fact there's absolutely no gameplay for it at the minute. There's just something about it. I don't know if it's the look. I don't know if it's the fact that it's a data runner. I've given that away now. Is that thing. I don't know why. It's the Herald. Something about the Herald kind of grabs my attention. Go figure. Go figure. But that's what I'm thinking. So there we go. Changing my vote to cider, says Richard. Oh God, yeah, that's yeah. Thanks. It's going to be a downward spiral from here, isn't it, mate? Ooh, says Corald. Love it, says Socially. Ironclad is the new loaner for the Liberator. Yes, a lot of happy Liberator owners. Also, went salvaging, forgot that you could rent stuff. So I'm like, oh my God, there are ironclads everywhere. Of course there are, because you can rent things, right? I got myself Crime Stat 2 yesterday in my Vulture, salvaging some random dude's ironclad. So yeah, oops. Womp womp. They're great though. You can salvage loads of them. So that was fine. The Herald is the Nimbus 2000 for SC. Yeah, it's basically a seat and a small cockpit strapped to the largest engine and fuel tank they can find. Like the computer station, says Notorious. Hello, buddy. Welcome in. Good to see you. Carlton, good to see you, bud. Feel the same about the Herald. Yeah, there's an appeal. So I don't know. We'll have a look at my fleet a little later on, and maybe you guys can suggest what ship should go up there. There's a couple of things I can't/won't upgrade. But we can have a look, right? And then I'll add the CCUs in, and we'll do a beginning of DefenseCon versus end of DefenseCon state of my fleet. I'm not gonna lie though, for the last couple of defense cons and IEs, you guys have been crazy generous, and some of you are almost single-handedly responsible for the changes in my fleets over the last couple of events. So yeah, and then there's a little bit of like bribery involved. There's like, hey, I got you that. Now you need to do a review on it. Looking at no one in particular, you know who you are. So there we go. Okay, we should be changing over. Site is live. Ashra's just confirmed it. Okay, Drake, Grays. Okay, we'll F5 that bad boy. Grays, there we go. Origin jump works. Let's go straight into it. I'm just going to do a quick check on YouTube. See if we've got something on YouTube as well. We'll do the video first and then we'll look at the specs if you like. If it's there. Is it there? Is there anything? Nothing seen yet. Oh no, yes it is. It's just not in my notifications. Stand by.
Careful now. The surface holds its breath.
Do you hear it all right?
Inviting you beneath. But deadly things hide intention behind beauty.
Not a fan of this style of
Come
trailer.
Closer.
Really loud for me.
Gaze beyond a fleeting glimpse until beauty becomes bite, becomes power. And power, she needs to be seen.
That's Purdy.
Origins' first heavy fighter is formed. Look away, if you can.
That is Purdy. It's so ugly, says Socially. Oh my god. Right. Fight out in the chat. Just go nuts. It's a fight or it's not, but just like, yeah. I must admit, I'm not a massive fan of that type of trailer. I see what they're trying to do. They got the two voices, which is beauty and power, right? You've got the more feminine voice for, you know, the power, obviously, and you've got the bloke's voice for the looks. Maybe I've got that the wrong way around, I don't know. But there we go. Okay, so let's dig into it and have a look. So, the Origin M80 then, is this gone? Oh, here we go. Gaze upon the M80, in a universe where power is necessary and elegance is rare, Origin redefines both. I could read stories, I could be a narrator. It's a very interesting, there's parts of this actually, parts of the rear styling makes me think of the F8. Like this curved wing and stuff. Barakazian, welcome in. Can't decide between the M80 and RSI Meteor. People use or enough, start using and. Back half is sadness, says Soshi. Jinxie, hello, buddy. Instantly upgrade. Fantastic. Nice. Pleased for you. As Origin's inaugural heavy fighter, the M80 does not just simply engage. It captivates its target as concealed weaponry emerges with lethal grace, revealing its true destructive nature. Refinement and ruin reserved for solo pilots who demand the extraordinary. Interesting. So it's a single-seat heavy fighter like the F8. Yeah, it's... Do you know what? From that, the thing that I find here is I'd struggle if you remove kind of the cockpit, if you hide the cockpit for a second, I struggle from here to kind of determine what aspect I'm looking at, right? Whether it's, you know, flat, sideways on, at an angle, is it going towards me, is it coming away? This sort of stuff, it's very hard to kind of determine that angle. It does have some F-35 vibes, though. Welcome in, Tips. Good to see you. 805 Peach, hello, buddy. No, it just makes me mad that at CIG have no idea what a heavy fighter's purpose is. I mean, it's to fight heavy, right? I see the points you made about a nightclub lounge interior. You're making good points, and when you're right, you're right. I like the cockpit styling. That's kind of cool. That is a nightclub, correct? And there's the difference between the two. So there's your components, I guess, or not the difference, but there's your components hidden. Yeah, the floor being stairs. I hear your point about that as well. I'm not sure how I feel. Mark, excellent. Welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. I find it tough that it's a fighter that costs more than a Mercury Star on it. Yeah, like many of the fighters in that kind of. The F8 does the same, right? The solo seater heavy fighters. So that's your factory standard paint, the grey orange, or the silver orange and black. Tetra. Not my thing. Metallic green, a lime green, and a black. The afterglow paint, the typical kind of black and red or black and orange kind of stealth. Dynasty is quite cool. That's a bit unique. Not tactical in the slightest, but it's very, very cool. Slate camo. There you go. There's your stealth fighter imagery for everyone. So there we go. And then Blaze. And that's the concierge, right? Yeah, I mean, straight away, slate camo. I think it's just the best looking. Or Dynasty, if I wanted to go a little bit more advertised. But we have here, length, 32 meters. So she's a chunky girl. 2 size 5, 2 size 4. 4 size 3 missiles and 16 size 1. And room for cargo as well. And do you know what? This is where, for me, the videos should be in there a little bit more, as they should be showing you this. Is like, where does the cargo go? And I know people have been around the hall, right? So you have the answers for that. I feel like the videos should probably show that stuff off as well. But yeah, M80 plus Blaze paint. Yeah, so prices, you guys were right when you were talking about it. Talking $330 US. That's after tax here in the UK. $360 for the 10-year, and so on and so forth. So yeah, interesting. And then there is a war bond upgrade to it as well, which is quite nice. So if you want to go and upgrade, it's $275 for the war bond. Yeah, not a bad. I mean, it's still quite expensive. As someone points out, it's still quite a hefty price ship, but it's not all that bad. Maybe I'll fall in love with it when I fly. It says socially. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Blamsmith, welcome in. Charlie McCawsome says, I think CIG knows what a heavy fighter is. It's more that players expect heavy fighters to be dogfighters, that they ain't. I mean, this thing looks like it's going to be maneuverable. I haven't seen the stats on it yet, so I might be talking up the wrong tree. But that's where we go. The F8, I'm not sure at the moment. F8, is it 300? That might be an old price. But that's where we go. So that's then is the M80 in and of itself, and we can come back and have a bit of a chat about that. I just want to counter through the other stuff that's appeared as well. So there's your Origin Jump Works bit. We've also got, unsurprisingly, Roberts Space Industries. And the Polaris is the daily deal. Someone's just pointed that out as well. There you go, Ashra's just pointed that out. So we're looking at what price for that? 975 or 875. So $100 off. So just over, a smidge over 10% off the price. That's still a hefty price. A jump from the Perseus, for example, because I've got one. Let's have a look. What are the ships in that area for the price? Yeah, Perseus. So you're talking a $75 jump up from the Perseus. Even more then from the Hercules. You're still talking $125. So not a lot there to jump to. Sounds like a fairly reasonable saving until you realise that actually there's very few ships up at that range that are going to get you up to that. So yeah, it's interceptor tuning, fast, less manoeuvrable. Yep, so yeah, chasing stuff down as opposed to dogfighting. Peach says, they recently said they're still working out the rules of light moving heavy fighters and still working on the flight model. Exactly. Exactly this. And I think that's the... I've never liked chasing meta anyway. Meta chasing is really, really boring and just exhausting in my experience. However, .com, still, it's a bit of a pain, to go and do it. It's boring and it just relies on things not changing. And the problem with Star Citizen is that the only insane thing you can do in this game is assume things are going to stay the same. Right, we're still too early on. When we know that they're still balancing flight model, as you point out, and they're still figuring out the roles for ships, don't assume things to stay the same. And if it's like, hey, if this gets slower, or if this doesn't dogfight quite as well as it does right now, if those are the you know, the kind of things that would break the ships that you're buying, my recommendation would be don't buy them. But you know, it's not up to me to tell you what to do with your money. I've got to add that, because people are like, I'll compare this to all the other ships and where it is right now. And I would say, yes, great, do all that and make the decision that's best for you, but also think about what happens if it changes. So yeah, most of the RSI ships, I think, will be here. You've got the 2 Apollos. I don't think the Hermes will be here, because, of course, this is more a military one. So we've got the Andromeda, the gunboat. We've got the Aurora, because it's fairly punchy for what it is. The Aquila's there. The Phoenix is already... And a Taurus. Well, I guess I'll shut up then. Ha. Because that ain't a combat ship. I know, because I've got one. There's nothing fighty about the Connie Taurus. Nothing fighty in the slightest. The Lynx is there, the luxury rover, so that's kind of stretching the military application sort of definition as well. We got the Meteor, the Mantis, Perseus is in there, Polaris is in there, Scorpius. Yeah, I get all those. The Ursa, yeah. Medevac is combat adjacent. Understand that one as well. So, yeah. It's a bit interesting that they don't have the Hermes, but they do have the Taurus. Bizarre. I wonder if that's an oversight. It literally says at the top, transport and medium freight. I wonder if that's an oversight. And I know that Drake has the Caterpillar. 100% with you on that. But. He said but. It's Drake, so Drake just does that anyway. It's DefenseCon, not ILW. Yeah, and I get that. So where's the Hermes? Yeah, so if it's selling everything because it's DefenseCon, where's the Hermes? And if they're not selling everything, what's the line? What are they selling? What aren't they selling? So... meta chasing is unfun, says Feathers. 100%. Welcome in as well, buddy. Good to see you. I feel that flight suits should be specific, like racing and less performing flight suits should be offered for underclothing to be worn with armors. So yes, so the flight suits will be, they are bringing that in now. And I've actually noticed, so I'm wearing, is it the Palatino armor? Just around, because it's just my general, it's like the one that I had in my hangar after the wipe. I was like, yeah, I'll throw that on, that'll be fine. And I've noticed now, when I get in and power up, the ship actually says 10% less geoforce resistance. So it actually comes up on the HUD with everything else, and then disappears. It's like one of the warnings at the top, like shields down and then shields low, that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was interesting. So there we go. I mean, they have the RSI complete back available. Not doing that just for the Hermes. Absolutely not. So, seems they didn't offer the 890 or Origin completes. They are doing some limiting, but who knows which. Yeah, exactly that. And that's why this, to me, along with the links, strike me as a little bit not combat adjacent and maybe a little bit of a mistake. But then, who knows? The other party involved in this is Kruger Intergalactic. Okay, there's not going to be a huge amount. There's going to be, 4? Alpha Wolf. Oh no, they've not even gone for the other stuff. So it's just the Wolf and the Alpha Wolf. Fine. We do know, as we've said before, that the Stingray, is it from Kruger, coming a little bit later this year, at some point, but who knows, right? Might be fun to see a multi-crew Kruger ship. That'd be kind of cool. But there we go. Yeah, so that's all of that. And then let's just have a look, I guess, where does the M80 sit, I wonder, in terms of fighters? Let's have a quick look. So if we go up grades 2, that'll show us a little bit more, won't it? Bear with us. There'll be a slight interruption in service while Badger sorts his life out and goes and has a look at the... So we're looking somewhere in the 300 range. So what sort of combat ships is it adjacent to? I mean, you've got the Guardian sitting slightly below it, right? You've got the Vanguards sitting slightly below it. The MX, $10 below. It's in the same region as the Eclipse now. And the Stinger sitting above it in price by $15. I can't remember where the F8 is now. What is the F8? It should still show me the F8, right? Or does it not? Because this is all ships. This isn't just the ones I own. And because it's upgrading from, surely it should be in here. Am I blind? Have I just gone past it and not noticed? Or is it just not sitting there? Someone put me out of my misery. What's the price of the F8 at the moment? Non-war bond? The Wolf is more Origin than the M80. You reckon? I don't know. I kind of... You can't upgrade from it, that's why. Thank you, Ireland. Someone's put me out of my misery. I appreciate that. Yeah, so... Yeah, you can't CCU away from it. I believe that they're intentionally limiting the CCU game. I want to complete a chain, but the non-offered ships don't seem to be available to chain. So, no. So, the CCU stuff... The CCU tour ship is only available when that ship is available for sale, or the war bond, the CCU is available for sale, right? So most of the year, a lot of the ships aren't available for sale. So, for example, I don't know, take a ship like the F8, right? The F8's a bad example. I don't know, let's take something like the Vanguard Sentinel, right? Or another ship that's only available for parts of the year. You can upgrade away from it at any time. Okay, that's why the Endeavour's here, right? The Endeavour's a really good example. You can't upgrade to the Endeavour because it's not available for sale. So that's why when I click this, even though the Endeavour's 350, it's not in that list. Okay, so you can only ever upgrade to something when it's there for sale for the other stuff. So it's F8 is same price. Yeah, without VAT. Yeah, so 300. There we go. Not 3,000. No, not that. That's a little bit much. With crafting, since we can make lasers more powerful, can we improve kinetic rounds? So, what I understand from what they said in the last crafting kind of Star Citizen Live they talked about is that the crafting itself does not improve the round. It doesn't improve necessarily the damage. What it does is it reduces the wear on the weapon that's firing it. So master-crafted ammo, you know, the stuff that sits right at the top of the crafting, is going to do less wear over time. The worse your ammo, the faster your weapon's going to need repair and increasing the chance of malfunctions and that sort of stuff. So, there we go. Alan says, not sure if we like the F8C or the M80 the best. Yeah, I feel like all of the heavy fighters are in a bit of a weird spot. Obviously, they'll make the M80 the best it can be for the patch that it comes out, but we know that things like the Lightning has been in a weird place for quite some time. You know, the Scorpius has been a fairly solid contender. The Hurricane, although you don't see it, that's pretty solid as well. But as someone said before, they're still working it out. So these ships are not necessarily going to be... You know, again, taking them as they are right now, I feel like for a lot of these ships, when you talk 12, 24 months down the line, you're taking them on the promise of what they will be, not necessarily what they are in the game right now. That is every multi-crew combat ship in the game, full stop, the end. Because even when the Perseus came out, the armor changes were not there. So we were not seeing the effectiveness of the Perseus as it stands right now. Okay. So yeah, I mean, M80, what I will do at the minute is I will have a look and see whether or not we're going to be able to stream with the game alongside. It's not always a guarantee that it's going to work, but we can give it a go, and then if it tanks performance too much, we can, you know, throw that idea out the window. But it might be nice to go and have a look at this in the show floor, even if we don't fly it around too much, and just see where we go with that. That's very accurate too in real life. Don't believe me, look up the N16's controversies. I take it you're talking about ammo there, John. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's got two weapons that fold away. You can see when we first saw the images and in this bit here, yep, you've got one weapon on the side, and then all of a sudden, You know, you've got the bits that are extending down. Quite how they extend, I'm not sure. But we can go and have a look. If people want to go and have a look on the shop floor, we can certainly do that, or at least give it a go. But that's where we are with this. The Polaris then being the Daily War Bond. What is it going to be next? I have a feeling it might be the Wolf. Because we had a lot of Drake ships to choose from, and they opted to do one Drake, one, what's the other one? Greys. We've now got a War Bond, which is the M80, because it's new. So we've got the War Bond upgrade, we've just seen it. We've also then got the War Bond of the Polaris, which is the RSI. I think the Wolf might be a fairly, good bet for tomorrow. But I remain to be, surprised / disappointed. Just don't enter the pilot seat if you go to the showroom floor. Oh, do you get locked in, do you? This patch in general seems rough with performance. Lots of issues. Personally, I'm having it crash my game when I use the Mobiglass, which was an old issue they had fixed, says AV. Yeah. They show a close-up of the M80 gun animation in the SCL. I mean, I'm happy to go and have a look at the SCL and see what that kind of shows up for us. Let's have a quick look. So I'm just going to go find that on the other screen so you're not seeing me click through stuff over here. We can go and watch that M80 section and see what they say about it. That might give us a little bit more kind of an idea as to precisely what it is they've got planned for this. So let's have a look. Incoming.
Dormant state, so to say.
So yeah, fell asleep.
Yeah, basically the damage is going to be passed on to...
Shh, be quiet. Okay, let's have a look. Where's the... Have we got the timings in here? Has someone put the timings in? Go on, someone's put the timings in. No timings. Good. That's what we like. I'll go find it just by scrubbing through then. Thanks, Sergi. Appreciate that. That's still Ironclad. That's Iron Chad stuff. That's that thing, the Pitbull monstrosity that it is. And then... What's this?
Finish new concept at all since looking after the ship team.
Oh yeah.
I was on it with the 400 life of production, but not in terms of like the concept side. So we had new manufacturer, or not a new manufacturer to us to play with, but
That's the Pitbull,
upcoming
right?
Origin M80.
Well, there you go.
Before we switch
Nailed it.
oh no, we're gonna do it now. There it goes. You're eager, Will. You're eager. Sorry.
There you go. Right.
So before
Diet
we switch
Coke
to
it was.
M80,
You voted
what
for
is
it, you get
Let's
it.
set this up.
Sober
The
badges.
M80 is Origin's sort of debut into like dedicated combat ships, and it's a heavy fighter.
And and when was the last time we did an Origin ship? It's like
400i.
400i. No,
Oh,
so
X1s, yeah.
400i is the last new
Yeah.
one. The X1 is the last released.
yeah, but the last new
Can't
Origin
find
ship
it.
was the 400i,
Yeah.
and that was
2019.
that was before the
When-
I thought it was during the pandemic. Was
It was like 2022.
I remember we teased it for a very long time.
No, it was during the pandemics. We
during-
recorded the CitizenCon
The 404.
video.
No, it wasn't. It was the 404. It was the spaceship not found. It was the first April Fools.
Okay.
It was 2021 or 2020?
I think it's 2022 because it was like a ship.
Chat,
that was
help
built
us.
Just before Chat, yeah. Why are we asking? Like, everyone.
2021.
There you go.
Somebody in there was like, I can't believe they don't remember when they released the 409.
Oh my god. Just random nuts. I love Origins, says Base Truther, and can get an M80 for 145, but I don't even want it. What's its selling point? Good looking heavy fighter, I'm guessing, with an interior, and it's a heavy fighter with 2 SCU of cargo.
Okay, you talk to me. Yeah. Right. I think it was kind of a double-sided really, because it was not only was it an Origin ship that we haven't done in ages. I mean, I've not been involved in like an Origin start to finish new concept at all since looking after the ship team.
Oh yeah.
I was on it with the 400 life of production, but not in terms of like the concept side. So we had new manufacturer, or not a new manufacturer to us to play with, but also it's their kind of debut into pure combat.
Yeah.
So that was also something else we could do. So we kind of we looked at it, and I've been obviously paying attention to what people's reaction has been and stuff. And some people have called out like, oh, this doesn't feel quite that Origin, this bit doesn't feel quite that Origin. But the really cool things, and then
404. No.
I do feel like sometimes they spend a lot of time defending their
and
choices,
this is a heavy
or lack
fighter.
thereof.
And let's take a look at the exterior here. Talk to me about what we're looking at.
Well, yeah, we saw it as party piece.
Okay.
I think one of the things with it
That's
being
kinda
Origin, we
cool.
wanted to make sure that we really.
Let's
take a
just
look.
show that again.
So this is the Origin 404. No, I went back to the old guy. The Origin, what is it called? M80.
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 The matey.
And this is a heavy fighter. And let's take a look at the exterior here. Talk to me about what we're looking at.
That feels like a lot of bits opening up. That's a lot of the ship exterior-wise that opens up to let that out. But that's kind of nice. Hey Neil, good to see you.
Well, yeah, we saw it as party piece.
I'm
I think
guessing
one of the things with it being
yes,
Origin,
honourable.
we wanted to make sure that we kind of kept it super
Guessing.
sleek and kind of made sure that it has those kind of really nice kind of like flowing Origin lines. But obviously, we didn't want to sacrifice functionality, and that's why.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with it's kind of cute, but it's like it's the F8 and the Aurora. It's drawing inspiration from both, right? So it's that kind of. It's got a lot up top, but it's very hollow right underneath, like where the module goes in the Aurora Mark II. It strikes me very kind of reminiscent of that, and then also kind of a lot of the curved wings and the kind of the wings that come all the way back on themselves from the F8.
And that's why when you kind of power the weapons on or off, you do have that big deploy. And I know when people first looking at it, there was a lot of discussion over weapon sizes and whether or not it was undergunned or whether or not it was overgunned and everything. And then slowly a couple of people started to guess that, hang on a minute, there's some seams in these panels here.
Almost like we planned it.
Yeah, and I think it kind of shows that it's got some bite to it.
So what are our inspirations here? What were we thinking when we designed this?
So Jacob
That's
Leopold
very
designed this
stealth.
one, in the concept phase, and anyone who knows him knows that he's obsessed with planes, and you can tell.
So that's very stealth stuff, folding away, stuff sitting behind the hull to open up. You look at the Type 45 destroyers and stuff, and some of the more recent US warship designs, all things like the boat bay, which, because it's like an interior, almost like a cave space within the side of a ship, it's a nightmare for radar returns, right? It massively increases the radar cross section of a warship. Having those shutters that come down and then just seal it off to hide it behind a flat superstructure is very much a stealth, not a stealth idea. It's reducing the overall visibility and radar cross section of the ship, in the same way that if you look at the B2s and that sort of stuff, everything sits away. Same with the F-35, F-35, F-22s, everything's hidden and appears when it's required, rather than just sitting there for radar signals to bounce off of. So yeah.
There is
Not so
strong
much
contrast between the
stealth,
soft lines of the front and the strong lines
but
of the rear. There is a
reduced
strong contrast in the
RCS.
color as well. There is a lot of lines flowing into each other's, looping and reconnecting, typical of Origin. So it maintained that DNA, also evolving the tail in something that is exactly like the 100i, but just sleeker. So there is a lot coming from the aeronautics side. I'm thinking of like the Rafale, F-35s, some Russian planes, and a lot coming from the automotive design world. So smooth transitions, very sleek German-Italian designs.
In fact, because Origin in the lore is actually from Germany. It's Cologne, Germany, actually, if I remember that correctly. Is it possible to raise the landing gear and see what it looks like in flight mode?
Yep.
So that's one thing folks haven't seen yet. The preview images we put on social had the landing gear down. I noticed the landing gear is wheels.
They do a little.
Origin's
I agree,
sticking with the
socially.
wheeled landing gear. I'm assuming somebody in chat is asking when ships will roll.
Interesting.
Anything we can tell people about that?
Nothing beyond it is something we still want to do.
Yep. But we're not abandoning the idea of wheel landing gear.
It's a shame we don't see the animation.
This is where it really starts to shine. Get a little lower if you don't mind. Yeah. Look at that thing without the landing gear. It's like, that is a good looking ship.
So that's where the smaller missile pods sit. That's the 16, 8 on each side.
That's so good.
I always look at the
So
bottom.
where are the larger missiles?
There it is.
Yeah, there is so much parallax in the
You
air.
can see them here, right?
There's so many lines that are absolutely intentional. Everything connects into each other. It's
Is it two
much
size
different.
3s?
Can we bring the weapons out again?
I remember, like, you know how the weapons come out from the side here? I remember seeing someone mention that they thought it might have been like a side ramp. So they were close, like they spotted the seams. Like you guys have got like, you get given like one tiny image on the
Okay, so you
Twitter,
get
but you're able
the
to
small
work out
side
something
wings as well.
from that.
So where do the missiles appear from? Where are the two size 3s? Or the
So
size
what kind of
3s?
performance we're talking about here?
I guess maybe here,
It's a heavy fighter, but not all heavy fighters.
in
are.
this bit.
fighter, but
No, because there's nothing
It's
behind
very
it.
sleek, looks very, very fast. So it's actually, we thought from the get-go, to be fair, with Georgi, our other designer on the team, that the interceptor role would have been perfect for this type of ship. So basically, I guess, yeah.
Oh,
could
there's a
expect
starlight
this
in the background.
ability to kind of go against up the Scorpius in terms
It
of
does have
propulsion,
wings, yeah, they
with
kind of
similar
extend
role,
out from
similar,
here.
with similar capabilities, with differences in between the two, of course. But yeah, this is pretty much what you can expect. So very, very fast straight line speeds. It's not the best in terms of rates and rotation and handling, but it's very fast. And especially with the speed that you can reach under boost.
Yeah, there's size 3s as well.
That is going to like help you a lot.
It is,
like in
yeah,
real
it's
life.
basically
It's
going to be a
gonna
bullet, Rich.
Very, very interesting. As so far, like the Scorpius, we know nowadays is one of the best heavy fighters that we have in the lineup in terms of balancing and tuning and feel. And we think with the M80 was a good opportunity to kind of try to dive more into this type of
I mean, that's
tuning,
the whole thing with
and
this, I guess,
into
is the whole
this
thing
type
is
of
supposed to be a
experience
wing,
to,
effectively.
Yeah, make it shine as well.
So within the heavy fighter genre, there are individual tunings within. This is
Yes.
the interceptor tuning
Yeah.
within heavy fighters.
Yes, yes. So basically, like what we intend in terms of like interceptor tuning, it's basically you're trading up speed and you're trading agility and maneuverability over forward accelerations and speed, basically. So you can be faster. You're basically more a boom and zoomers
Hey,
slash
Citizen Ninja.
energy fighting type of style, and this is what the M80 is.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look inside.
Hey, Sebastian, good to see you, bud. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Things. Can we use the door? Do we have the option to go in through the?
Not right now, unfortunately.
Oh, the door's broken. Inner?
The animation.
It's just
is-
screw in editor mode. We're not
Oh,
in game
it's
mode.
because the editor. All right, because we're not in game mode. So it does. We did something really cool where the bottom of the ship is actually also the door.
Yeah, that's one of the kind of like the nods back to the 400i.
Yeah.
Where
I can see why people are saying they're not a fan of this. I get that 100%. That feels very... So where's the cargo go? Cargo go.
where you have this kind of ramp that comes in, or staircase, I should say, that comes in from underneath the ship. It was kind of like a conscious decision of how do you want to get into this thing, and obviously, you
Yes,
can
it
go
is,
into
Rich.
classic kind of fighter mode and get into the cockpit, and then have to climb out back into the kind of interior.
That's
it
the
just
gap
felt
underneath
kind of
behind.
a bit of a nicer
Malemba.
entrance in.
Okay, and what are the amenities in here?
Gotcha.
It's got a bed. It's got
a bed, it's got weapon racks, it's got access to all your components. We wanted it to kind of keep its origin kind of DNA, but be in a heavy fighter. And so, one of the things that is helpful is having kind of easy access to all your components. So we kind of prioritized that that kind of functionality as the kind of like the main thing that we really wanted on the interior of the ship. And then obviously
Not a
we
massive
added
fan of the
stowage
interior.
and a bit of personal storage and that sort of stuff. It wasn't meant to be like an explorer or anything like that. It was supposed to be
Good question, Alexander. It's
A little bit of
unclear
space
at
so
this
you can
point.
keep general boxes from utility missions.
I'm
so
guessing
the small
so.
Ones that you gather, not obviously for SU. Standard weapon racks, a little bit of personal storage.
Oh, interesting.
The core components to keep the ship actually running are all inside, so you don't have to go outside if they get damaged, so you can repair them from the inside. But obviously, there's not enough space for all the components on the inside, so the less critical ones.
You're not the
for
first person to say that,
operate the ship
Sebastian.
Are outside the ship.
So, will Origin ships in the future follow a similar design to the M80? Says somebody whose name I'm not going to say out loud.
I think it really depends on the role and depends on what
It's
we
a
want to do with
beautiful
it. I think,
visibility in the cockpit, depending on
obviously we want
how
an
high
Origin
that
ship
front
to be like an
dashboard
Origin
is.
ship.
That's really nice
that's
visibility.
key to it. And I think you see this line up, or you see this vehicle kind of lined up against the other. You can see the high end, the DNA from it, and that's what we want to kind of keep.
Hey, Tropic.
It really depends on the role of the ship. If we do more fighters, we might take similar inspirations. If we do more commercial ships, we might not. I think in the more kind of commercial stuff, we've looked at a lot of I think like
Luxury
yachts,
hotels,
luxury
spas.
yachts, that side of things. Whereas obviously, personally, a yacht doesn't feel very combat-y. So I think there's a lot of range within our manufacturers to experiment with.
Nice,
visuals. And
Dave.
that's kind of
Please
one of the nice
feel.
things of the game that we work on is that we are able to kind of try new ideas and experiment with new kind of visual ideas.
It's combined two different DNAs. So you've got the Origin DNA, which Origin has its own identity, but you wouldn't expect a industrial Origin ship or a combat Origin ship to look the same.
No.
You'd expect them to be completely different. And this is one of our first times doing very dedicated combat focused, like completely only combat focused Origin ship. And it has a little bit difference, but it's the same way that a combat Drake ship is a bit different from a combat.
I mean, the 325 is a combat ship, but it's a variant of an existing line. So there's
Exactly.
only so much you can do with a variant.
Yeah, so Tropic Thunder says they really blew it with the ship could have been the F-14 Tomcat, but it can't turn. If it had swing wings, it would have been a home run, but they blew it big time. Yeah, so they basically went for, so this is the Interceptor subtype. So it's a choice that this thing is not, it's fast in straight lines. Very much like the Hermes. It's fast in straight lines, not great to turn. It's designed to chase stuff down, not necessarily dogfight with it. So yeah, I get the disappointment. I get people want it to be a little bit different to the rest of it. Maybe they're expecting it to be a little bit more like the 5th gen fighters out of Top Gun Maverick, but that is unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view, not what it is. If they included directional exhaust with this, like the F-22, they could be really insane. Yeah, I mean, they are, so that the whole point of this thing is not the point of this thing. That's not what I wanted to say. That's why I paused. So obviously they are going to create ships with strengths and weaknesses, and obviously this thing's weakness is that it's not going to work necessarily as nicely in a dogfight as you would want it to. Again, not defending it, not saying that that's right or wrong, just merely saying that that's what it is. Best Guy at Night, Nightshade says, keep him Guardian QI. Yeah, good choice. What did everyone think of the 60-second long M80 commercial they just released? Style over substance would be how I'd describe it. Remember, which arguably is very in keeping with Origin. I'm going to upset some Origin people now, but that's what it is. Is anyone else stuck in the logging crew? Haven't tried yet. Might give it a go in a little while just to see what happens.
Exactly.
Like 125 and the M50 has that split of interceptor and racer. So,
But it's a true
this is a
just
complete
dedicated
standalone
fighter
new
as is.
chassis. So.
You see it in real life automotive manufacturing and aeronautic manufacturing as well, that like even though Boeing makes planes, right, but they also make helicopters, and Rolls-Royce makes engines, not just like the
Mitsubishi make.
Yeah, exactly.
Mitsubishi
Yeah,
makes everything. Mitsubishi is my go-to every time.
I think they make our lift.
I need a product.
Sorry, you're touching on one of my biggest pet peeves here. When people are like, that doesn't look like X manufacturer or Y manufacturer wouldn't do that. I always go to Mitsubishi. This is the same company that
Look at the
makes
Hilux
tanks,
versus the Supra.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
refrigerators, tanks, elevators.
I do think it's important to keep like some kind of core DNA. Like when there's a BMW really right behind you, it's a BMW. But like because it's right behind you. But there's always like these core parts of the DNA of like the manufacturer, which I think Alberto touched on it perfectly when he was doing like the first fly around about how Origin always like reconnects the lines back around, and like it's that core art direction can be applied to other.
Yeah, there's core rules. Isn't
Yeah, I mean, they're going more into the art of stuff now again, aren't they? So let's just jump ahead a bit.
You have like, if you look at like the Polaris, it's like the more military centered, whereas like if you look at
Different DNA, but at the same time, they're both very obviously RSI.
yeah.
Belladrim had a question here. It says, for Matea, he goes, if you say it competes against the Scorpius, which is multi-crew, while this is solo, how do you keep the ship from being overpowered?
Well, as the most veteran pilot can attest, the turret on the Scorpio is actually a plus and not a minus. So the fact of that being multi-crew is not a downside at all. So I don't see specifically here in this context any problem in terms of balancing, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, what he's saying there, I understand where he's coming from. I'm not like dogfighting is not necessarily my jam. It's not something that I'm doing all of the time, but I see what he's saying. Right, as the pilot, because you've got a turret that's got so much visibility, you don't need to worry about stuff being in front of you anymore. Add to that the fact that the Scorpius, from what I'm understanding, is more maneuverable than the M80. That's going to be a bit of an issue. What's the trade-off of that is the M80 ideally will be able to outpace the Scorpius and open the distance when it needs to, or close the distance to chase it down, which is its role. So, yeah. Are people arguing why a game 2,000 years in the future didn't make a ship we didn't even use? No, I think, I don't know if arguing is the right word. I think it's just trying to understand the design choices. If it's around the Tomcat, it's really hard, I think, to make a lot of comparisons these days because a lot of platforms haven't directly engaged, right? It's been a long old time since that thing has been a frontline fighter. So, just because there are two fighters of various generations at the time, one sees combat, one doesn't. You have stats about one, you don't have stats about the other, but that doesn't make the one that you do have stats about better. It just means you've got stats for one and not the other. I'm going to move on because this is a really unfortunate moment to pause it for this chap. So
they're just going to be two different ships with different tools. They are covering the same role. One is going to shine on maybe certain tasks, the other one on others. So I'm positive that on the balance side, it's going to be fine. It's going to be quite interesting seeing what people will prefer to go out and fight other people.
Someone is asking if the
I know they're going to preserve some of the F-14s in museums and stuff. That's the only thing I've seen about that. But it won't compete. Nowadays, it won't compete. Because the bottom line is we are moving away from dogfighting. If you look at the way the F-22s and the F-35 operate, it's a very different scenario. The only reason now that planes get close is because countries aren't in open war with each other. So it's about identifying, showing a presence, visually intimidating your opponent. If this was straight up out and out combat, there's no reason to knowingly put planes in close to each other when you can just engage at significant range, especially when one of your when the plane that you're operating has a significant radar advantage, i.e. better radar and far less detectable. You get close, you get detected, right? It's that sort of stuff. This is why, people with ghillie suits go sit in the bushes miles away. Sure, they could go running up and down the street with everyone else. What's the point in wearing a ghillie suit if you're going to do that? And it's a very similar concept with machines of war as well, that they should play to their strengths. So there we go.
The M80 has stealth features. I mean, a lot of
off. Turn it off, your signal will go down rapidly.
Very stealthy.
Well, there's a lot of folks who have watched that movie, see kind of a shared lineage with stuff. I thought the first time I saw it, I thought it was more akin to the the fighter at the beginning of Top Gun Maverick, and what there's inspirations everywhere. So folks are asking about the stealth stuff. Of course, you can replace the components with stealth grade components and stuff. There'll be tunings that you can do, and then of course through crafting, there's the stealth grade components, and then there's the crafted stealth grade components and stuff. And you can make it quite more stealthy than it may be off the line.
It's not designed to be a stealth ship. It has nothing going for it that would force it to be stealth. Obviously, with crafting, with components, you can alter the profile of a ship and how it works to a degree.
So interesting, because when it goes back to that question we had earlier about why would you put size 1 and size 2 repeaters in this thing. There's this, I think sometimes there's this concept that the ship that you get off the factory line that's supposed to be it.
So yeah, I'm not going to go that route with them down the M80, but the thing with radar cross-section, so stealth in the game is run by stealth components, right? Because you're measuring power output and all that sort of stuff. When that comes to the real world, which is obviously where my experience comes from my time in the Navy, that's not how it works, right? It's not the emissions of the equipment based on its running. That works with sound, but not the way it does in space, obviously, because space is a vacuum. So the way you detect people from the kit that they have equipped is by actual intentional emissions. So it's either communications or radar. And you're able to determine when you get a radar in, the military can look at that kind of signal, because obviously everything works off the EM spectrum. You can look at the type of signal that you've just received. You can look at what band it is, the bandwidth, the frequency, all that sort of stuff. And you can determine not just, necessarily what type of radar that is. You can actually determine what platform it's from, if you've encountered that platform before. And I can't go much further down that road, but that's it. And with things like radar, the way cross-section works is you are minimizing your cross-section. So if you imagine, and this is massively oversimplified, okay, but you're throwing a ball and you want to get it to bounce back to you, and the ball is the radar pulse that you're sending out and you're waiting for a return, right? If you throw a ball and you throw it at a wall that's facing you, right, that's at right angles to you, it's going to come back all the time, right? Because that's it. And that's the same thing. If you have a flat surface facing you and a radar pulse hits it and it's the right material, and when it comes back, it's going to be a very strong return. You now look at something, you imagine what angle you need to be on the M80 and throw a ball to have it bounce back at you. You're either going to have to get exceptionally lucky bouncing off the very thin part of the wings, and the chances are it's just going to skew off in another direction, same radar, or you need to be above it or below it. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you get the pulse. Now compare that to things like the B2 and the F-35 and all that sort of stuff, right? That's the design element. What you can also then do is you can add things like radar absorbent materials on top. And these are things like, it's like instead of building your wall out of metal and then throwing a ball at it, you've built your wall out of sponge. And then you throw a ball at it and try and get it to bounce back. So it's that, right? It's the angles, it's the materials involved, it's the strength of the radar, and that's the idea. So when I talk about radar cross section, and I said this thing, that's what I see looking at it. Have they built that in the game? No, because obviously in the game that's not happening. They're talking about detection ranges and distances and all that sort of stuff, and actually, in game, a detection range should depend on whether or not it's pointing at you. The detection range would change. If they deploy the gear, the detection range would change massively. Let's say you've got, a ship with a hatch, something like that. If you were to lower the ladder, the radar cross-section would increase tremendously, right? Because it's not designed to be stealth. It's designed to allow access. So there's that sort of stuff. Does that equate to the game? No. But from an observer, using real-world experience, the M80 should be something that has a very low radar cross-section. Clearly what they're saying here is that's not the case. So, yeah. Same as submarine radar operators. Badges, have you ever seen how the game Cold Waters does sonar gameplay? I haven't, mate. No, I haven't played Cold Waters. Found the size 3 missiles. They pop out from the fuselage on both sides in the middle under the ship. Okay, so they've just
And
done a
we're
really bad
building
job
an
of showing
MMO
us the
here.
angles
A
there.
big
That's
part of
fair.
all MMOs is upgrading from your common gear to your uncommon gear to your rare gear to your epic gear to your legendary gear, and being able to do that with not just weapons, but all of these
4 size 3s, I
components
think.
and
Charlie?
stuff is how you're able to
Hey, SC,
take
good to
these
see you, buddy.
ships from their base configurations and drive them closer to what
Exactly
you
that,
want.
Rich.
That's part
Exactly
of the
that.
fun in this. We're not supposed to just give you the best version of this ship.
And
right
to you,
off the line.
Kingdom, and to
Well,
you.
every single, well, there are very, very few exceptions, but in almost every component the player gets in the stock ships is a C grade. It's a C. There's A and B to upgrade into. We do that on purpose. It's not that we put the wrong one on. It's always
Yes,
a
there's
C
heat.
grade
Heat
component.
is slightly
We want that space. We
Clearly,
want
there are
Different,
of course
but
boundaries
yes.
where we think it's acceptable, for you to personalize the ship. Because, for example, I don't think we don't want a scenario where you can tweak your people to be an absolute truck. We want the DNA of the ship to stay in certain confined spaces, so to say. But inside those, we want for you to
Oh,
be
no.
able to.
Well, I'm glad you're back,
basically,
Kingdom.
Try to achieve whatever you want. And have different play styles, basically. So if you
I
want, for
feel like
example,
we're going very
standard
much
ship
down the
with,
gameplay line
no shields
of general
and,
concepts
less
now,
guns,
rather than getting
this
to
is
the
only
ship itself. So there we go. Yeah, no, absolutely, Rich. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, an interesting looking ship for sure. If it was aesthetics alone, that ship would probably be up there with the F8 in terms of what I like. I really like the look of the F8. The F8 for me is going to be an earn through Squadron 42 in the in-game. I say earn. So what you earn through Squadron 42, as we were last told, hopefully the plan will remain the same, will be better than this, is that you would complete extra tasks within Squadron 42, which would then unlock your ability to buy the F8 in-game with in-game currency, add that to your account, and that would bypass all the rep requirements and stuff. There are also other ships that will be unlocked through Squadron that have yet to be announced. So yeah, that's my plan for the F8. It's a pretty ship, and as a couple of people pointed out, the significant price jump on the whole B has got a lot of people closer to this. So if you're happy to take that and move that CCU chain in that direction, 100% get that, and that's going to be a really nice kind of tasty saving on putting the M80 into your fleet. Okay, I'm going to embarrass myself now because someone is going to tell me that I've missed something. So, this is going to go horribly, horribly wrong. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, on the Hangar.link website, which is Starjump Grimm's and Team's website, which is loads of fun. This is what my fleet currently looks like. I think everything is here now. Okay, so recent changes to the fleet. I have a Ghost Mark II that's sat down there. I have the Aurora Mark II from when the Aurora released. Okay, I've got the Twin Wolf pack as well, and everything else sat in there. And the Retaliator was temporarily changed up to the Hermes, but I'm enjoying the Hermes a lot more than the Taurus, obviously, because the Taurus is an older ship. The problem is the Taurus sits as part of one of my CCU chains, so yeah, that's kind of where we are. So not so much World of Tanks, Bovington. So Bovington Tank Museum is just down the road from me. By just down the road, I mean by an hour. And both of the Sherman Fury, yeah, is it Easy 8 or it's the Firefly? So the Sherman Firefly and Tiger 131, the Tiger that they engage, they both live in Bovington. So I've seen both tanks. I've got pictures of me with those tanks. So that's kind of cool, right? And then they were selling this T-shirt, and it would have been rude not to. So there we go. The Ironclad price hike was pretty significant. Yes, it was. Fishhead Break Room, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. M80 is close to the F8C now in appearance, both in very nice this kingdom. Yeah, I agree. Jungle Zayn says, do you think we'll have the chance to earn the F7A upgrade again? I missed it last time. Mate, I wouldn't like to say. I wouldn't like to say. What was it, Firefly or an Easy 8? I can't remember. Whatever it is. It's not a stock Sherman. So, yeah. I don't know. With the F7A upgrade, I think the way they left it was that wasn't going to happen. Upsettingly. And I don't say that to wind you up, right? I think that's just where we are. I don't like giving people false hope. I hope so, and nothing is beyond the realms of possibility, because it's not something. I see a Connie and Reclaimer, so I approve, says Lena. Hello, mate. Welcome back. They've so far never run a special A variant a second time. Yeah, that. So there we go. Yeah, which is a real shame, but that's where we go. And it's not giftable, right? The one that we have isn't something you can pass around. No, neither could I, Richard. That was a very, very kind gift. Fishhead Break Room says, do you think we'll get alien surprises this next week? So no. However, so that's a quick slap, and then don't worry, we'll bring it back. So for the next week or so is DefenseCon, and that is all going to be the human manufacturers. We know what the schedule for that looks like. We know the Raylan is coming soon. They have also stated there is another alien ship coming at some point in the next few months. And that I think they said it wasn't a combat ship. So stand by for that. The Raylan is shaping up to be a really good looking ship. So they hinted an alien snub. So that might be it, Neil. Yeah, absolutely. I had it in my head it wasn't going to be a combat ship, but there we go. So yes, Raylan coming soon. That's confirmed. Raylan is coming this year. The Raylan's being mentioned in the progress reports. It does feel a little bit behind. They were talking about, I think, a white box review, not even grey box. But there's been some pictures of work in progress on it. There was a door picture. I think there was something else as well. So there we go. I love the Prowler utility far more than expected. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, all about alien ships now. Yeah, absolutely. The Prowler utility was one of those ships. It's incredible because when it was first released, almost everyone hated it, and then all of a sudden, it just became this really, really popular ship. People using it. One of the nice things about the Prowler utility is such low signal, so it's very good at getting past people that you're trying to avoid. So yeah, that's kind of cool. So yeah, that's my fleet at the moment in terms of what I own, and then on the other side, this absolute monstrosity. This is, and it's not all of them. I've just realised I've not updated this in quite some time. Right, I need to save this stuff. Is the Reclaimer? The Reclaimer is bigger than the Perseus. The Reclaimer is huge. The Reclaimer is utterly huge. Be warned. She's a chunky gal, and she's beautiful. As far as I'm concerned, the Reclaimer was one of my first loves in this game. Alongside the Connie. So yeah, there we go. The beam from the pilot seat, perfect. You mean the Prowler utility, right? Yeah. So these are my CCUs. I've also got other CCUs. So I bought another one to the Hull B. So I've now got 3 Cutty Reds to Hull Bs. I've also got one to the Raylan and to the Ironclad, from random close by ships. I can't remember which ones. But yeah, so at the moment, that Spirit that I own, it was intending to come up to the Apollo Medevac. That's one of the ships that I was interested in. Then it lost drones, and I lost interest. One of the other ships that I'm very interested in is this one here, is the Vulcan. I'll be interested to see what that looks like when it comes out as well. I think at some point I'm going to really have to sit down and have a think about my fleet. But there we go. John Chavez, you keep the Reclaimer's name out your mouth. How very dare you? I will not. I will, no, just no. Not even no. Hell no. How very dare you? Not to dox you, but are you based in Southampton? It would make sense considering your naval history and proximity to the Tank Museum. I went to uni there. So not too far from. Not too far from. Yep, South Coast. Live in that area. 100%. But yeah. So the naval side of things, I hated being based down here. Hated being based in Portsmouth. But I've been based in all the naval bases around the UK. So Faslane and Plymouth. I have 4 ships again after the wipe. I had around 20. Oofed. What happened there? Was that lots of small ships going up to big ships? Is that you sitting on a whole bunch of store traffic? Credit? What on earth happened there? So yeah, that's rough. In the SCL, they specified the Apollo will get drones later. Did they? Interesting, because they said they said when they first released it that they basically that drone gameplay now no longer suited the medical gameplay loop. So it wasn't that it didn't fit or that it wouldn't work. It was that what they had imagined for drones was not now suited to the medical gameplay loop. If they are bringing it back, that's... So maybe I'll keep that chain in place then. So that's where I've got the Spirit at the moment. The downside is I'm actually really enjoying the Spirit. You know, because yes, I can do bunker missions with stuff like the Prowler Ute, but then I can fit smaller vehicles in the back of the Spirit. One of the things that I've enjoyed doing recently is getting the Pulse and using that to go to the distribution centres, landing outside of the weapons range, using the Pulse to go in and then coming back out again. That's been fun. Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to look at these chains. I was so kind of certain about the Vulcan that I've got this chain as well. Maybe now I need to get rid of it and see where we go from there. But we'll figure it out. The F8C, the F7A M2, Wolf and Taurus Kingdom. Nice. Nicely done. Yeah, there's a few people on our side with lots of stuff. Rodan, cool. Welcome in, bud. Not sure. I haven't tried it. My understanding, people are saying that they think it does. The M80. Sorry, in the Polaris. People are saying it'll fit in the Idris. Anyone want to give that a go? Using Reclaimer to do bunker missions. It'll take you 3 business days just to get out of the ship and into the bunker. Yeah. Happy, no need to spend more. Good. Mate, I'm really pleased for you. And do you know what? I've gone more that way of late. In that, you know, I'll throw kind of maybe 15, 20 pound or dollars at a like a CCU every so often. Just when something kind of grabs me as like potentially a good idea. But I said but again. Having said that, you know, at the moment, you know, like saving the whole house move thing, it's my funds have other priorities. Maybe I'll go back to it, but actually I'm kind of happy just kind of playing this way around and giving it a go. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's tried to put it in the Polaris yet, Rodan. You know, mainly because I guess people are only renting it and going from there, but I mean, the beautiful thing now, mate, is at the moment, is if you get yourself to Area 18, go rent a Polaris and go rent an M80 and give it a go. It can, says Kingdom. It can fit in the Polaris. Interesting. Oh, F8C can fit in and they're similar size. So yeah, there you go. Ta-da! So yeah, that's where we are with this at the minute. I guess the only thing that remains to be seen now is I'm just going to switch back to my beautiful self. I don't believe that for a second, and neither do you. And that's okay. I'm just going to try getting into the game and see if we can get in without my performance absolutely tanking, which is possible. As we know before, I'm not on a streaming PC, so it's not an internet thing, it's a PC thing, but we'll see. We'll see. Can the M80 fit in an 890 jump? Anything can fit once, mate, if you go fast enough. Just once. So there we go. That's the flashbang, is the loading screen. Yeah, I'll see if we can get in, and once we're in, I'll switch us over and we'll see where we go. But yeah, we go. So M80, really good looking ship, and I think this is, for me, and I'm just talking for me, this would be one of the ships that I get because I love the look of it, rather than, you know, I can instantly identify a definite place in my fleet where it goes. Okay. Oh my God, 42 in the queue. So yeah. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, just like with a run up, you'll fit it in the 890 jump. As Calco says, can you get it out again? Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. Richard, where would you place your M80 in your fleet? So at the moment, I've got a couple of options for fighters. I've got both wolves. I've got the Hornet Ghost. And I've got the MX, Guardian MX. I don't know. I mean, I don't intend to have too many fighters in my fleet. I want fighters to be able to do stuff, and tactical strike groups has really proved that, right? Is that, you know, having an effective fighter is a really useful thing right now. It might be that the one or the other goes up to that. I'd really like to give it a go in tactical strike groups doing the trench run, because I think that speed is really going to help. The question is it maneuverable enough to avoid everything? But you know, we'll see. My next is certainly an alien, whatever. You don't care what it is, as long as it's got alien stuff. Lack any military ship. That's not a bad place to be either. I mean, the Polaris is military. I would go with the Polaris as military. Yeah. You've gone from the MX to the M80, have you? Good. I'm pleased for you. That's good news. Apologies. Look, if this goes really slideshowy, hopefully I'll notice, and I'll just switch over to just the game footage, because it's quite a high res camera. Although it won't look like it now, it's a lighting thing. But yeah. Waiting for it to load. Or waiting for the queue to go down, more to the point. Okay. I'm just going to jump across here. And then in just a moment, let's have a look. Let's jump. Here we go. Right. We'll see if the we'll see if it stays put. If not, I can always change to the game itself, and just the game. It looks like we're still all right. I can't see. I'm now looking at a tiny screen on that screen. Had an 890 jump. Didn't like the hanger. Fair enough. My paints aren't showing up yet, says Feathers. Slate camo. Yeah. Easily my pick for camos for the M80. That and the one before. Is it the Dynasty? Blue, white, and gold. Like those two. The rest is eh. You know, the factory standard one is all right. But those will be my three. John says he's got, oh my God, that's a big old list to read out. But yeah, just waiting for the... This is taking a while. I think we're at the point where it's getting a little bit dicey, so I'm just going to transition across. Give me a second. There we go. Right. It's not liking this too much, is it? We'll give it a go. We'll have a run round. I apologise. It's going to be a little bit like a slideshow, but you know, I can get pretty decent game footage on it, like with VR and stuff, because I use the NVIDIA streaming kit. The problem with this is that it's using OBS, and OBS likes to eat some of the resources that SC would normally take up, and then it massively improves. Look at that! Look, hey, look at those textures. That's for winners. Ta-da! Love my 350R, but I just buy in games. But says Fishhead, yeah, absolutely. You shut your mouth, Howitzer. Yeah, monster. So there we go. We'll see how well this lasts. We'll see how it holds up. Yeah, this is struggling a lot, isn't it? Yeah, we'll have a run out, because one of the things that I haven't seen yet is the Tiveron, and I'm quite interested in what that's going to look like. But this is definitely Slideshow Citizen. The good news is that at some point in the very near future, there will be an upgrade. This is just, yeah. Right? Look at that, look. Top grade textures, $1 billion and counting. Ba, ba, ba. Or 1 billion, rather. But there we go. Wow. Yeah. This is no fun for me, and it's probably no fun for you guys either. So I might just jack the video portion, or this bit in, the being in game bit, because no one's enjoying this, right? Unless you want me to persevere. If you guys want me to persevere, it's fine, but it's also a little bit choppy as bleh. Yeah, that's bad. Ta-da! There we go. The FPS is hiding until I turn OBS off. The moment I turn OBS off, all the FPS comes back. They just don't like me streaming this at the same time, because I've now got the GPU is running broadcast camera, it's running broadcast microphone filters, it's running the game, it's running this, and there's a few other bits and pieces in the background as well. So yeah, yay! Yeah, so the question is, which well, I mean, it does. So I can tell you that. The question is which 3%. Because if it's stealing the 3% that everyone else is trying to use as well, then that, right? So. Looks like everyone's going for the same thing.
Now arriving.
Do. Yes. Yeah. So. lots of strange people running around. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the Tiburon looks like. Hopefully the weapons are deployed on the M80 or can be deployed, so we can have a look at what that looks like. So there we go. Cracking. Well, I mean, that's the interesting thing, right? Because there's plenty of people running the game without 48 gigs, so the minimum bit doesn't apply, clearly. So, yeah. Interesting. Right, where's the M80? I should have stopped off at one of the signs. So. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Okay, so where am I looking? I'm just being blind, aren't I? I'm sure I'm looking at it, I just can't see it. Oh, there you go. Far side, hall 1, and then do we have the... of course they're opposite ends of that hall. That's pants. There we go. Yeah, but if it was the minimum, right, this wouldn't be running. So don't tell me you build PCs if you're telling me it won't run under 48 gigs and it's running under 48 gigs. That's not how computers work. So yes, there we go. Let's have a look. Oh my god. What is that monstrosity? Interesting. There we go. Those turrets are bizarre. That's really interesting. So they're singles. And remotes or manned? That's bizarre. I guess we'll find out by looking at that one, right? Yeah, someone's made exactly the right point to make there, is that music is... Oh no. But my music's turned down. Ugh, do you know what? Which one do we... It's going to be sound effects, right? So I'm gonna say this once, right, and then we're not gonna go any further down this road. I don't know how to say in a different way, other than using crayons and the pieces of paper, that when I'm not streaming all of this with everything else that's running in the background, this is not my game experience. Okay? So, however you need to explain that to yourself, right? That's up to you. But that's all I can say, right? I can't explain that any other way. I can't do that any other way. All that I can say is all the other stuff that I've recorded, like in-game, is through my PC. So when you see us run the other stuff, when you saw us run the videos about like Hathor and stuff like that, that sort of stuff, same rate. So there we go. Upload videos, what, as opposed to the ones that I've got? Well, so this is really interesting. So this is why, like, the people who are like FPS purists are a little bit weird, is they say they can't show less than, or they won't play less than, what was the figure you used? 50 FPS, right? Because you can tell the difference, but we need to display the FPS on the screen, I'm assuming, because you can't tell the difference? Is that... So, there you go. Yeah. It's like, I can't tell the difference. If it's under 50 FPS, I can absolutely tell the difference, but it's under 50 FPS, and I can't tell the difference. It's kind of, yeah. There you go. Anyway, so that's that. Ah, so it uses 3% of your CPU. Yes, because game performance is determined on CPU alone. Are you sure you build PCs? I don't think this is... I don't think this is going the way you think it's going. Half the guns work on your M80. Yeah, that's not good. It's a shame, because normally, Kingdom's solid, right? It just, I guess, when, you know, you've got whatever money to splurge on a PC, people become a little bit, you know, cringe. So there you go. How do you want to be remembered? As the guy coming in and telling everyone else. I have Meteor and Vanguard Harbinger. Really tempted to CCU them to an M80 and Eclipse. Nice. Why not? Interesting. Yeah. So, there we go. Good stuff. And if you'd like to debate what's just happened to you, come into Discord and we can chat about it at length, but I'm not going to spend the rest of the stream feeding the troll. So there we go. Okay. So yes, right off the bat, that's going to fit in the Polaris. It might be a little bit tight, you might have to park it at slightly an angle, but yeah, 100%. That's an interesting build. I'll try not to get killed by it when it drops down. That'd suck. Okay, so it does have some access to external components underneath. Not everything is contained within. But yeah, it looks like everything. I don't know. Can they deploy the weapons from inside or not? I'm not sure. Go into the cargo. Can you go into it? Can you? Let's have a look. What's the access for the cargo? Something's bouncing around in there. Look at the back wing. Look like it support dual turrets, you reckon? I don't think they're going to go much more than that. I mean, 2 size 4s and 2 size 5s with that missile complement is pretty crunchy, right? That's pretty tough going straight away. Want to see one in hangar and you see the guns and extra missile loads as well? Asher, we will do, but we'll have a look a little bit later. You know, because just to make the dude happy, we can absolutely fucking upload that later. Starboard side. Gotcha. I don't know if any of you guys been to Japan, but this music reminds me of however that. Yeah, I can't deal with much more of that. So let's do, I don't know, that. There we go. Thank God. Oh, hang on. No. It is that. God damn, that's just rough. Okay, so let's go for, bear with me 2 seconds. Well, I scroll through everything else that I've got open in a minute. Let's go for that one. I don't know. This one. Let's do this. This will be fun. There we go. We put the volume back on a bit now. There we go. No, Jaeger. No, I'm just where I want them. I'm not closing any of that stuff. So no, you can't make me. Is that it there? Cargo bay. Interesting. Okay, so it's up at an angle as well. Oh, that's kind of cool. So that's your cargo. So it actually attaches at an angle. And then... Nice. Well, that's all right. Good stuff. 2 jungle. There's 2 of them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a bit of a ooh, this is the body kit stuff, obviously. All right, that's kind of cool. Nice. Yeah, tasty. I like that. I'll probably never grab an M80, but I swear the CIG stuff could moonlight as car designers. There's some tasty stuff. Cool ship for bunker running, says Charlie. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go and do all your loot goblin stuff with a couple of SCUs sat in the back, that's quite tasty. Yeah, I've got to agree, Jungle. The whole kind of like body kit stuff bodes really nicely future on for the game, so that's kind of cool. Nice. Yeah, it's seeing it there, it's not kind of blowing me away. It's good looking, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind flying one, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be that thing where I go, oh my god, it's going to be, you know, incredible and something I have to put on the fleet. So there we go. Yeah. So I'm going to do this once. SC, seeing as you can't take a warning, my friend. When we started this, I listed off what my GPU was doing. OBS was one of those things. You can focus on OBS if you choose to. That's up to you. Like I said, I can only tell you what my experience is, and in exactly the same way as I could say bullshit on your FPS, you know, you can say bullshit online. But I can tell you what I can play here, and, you know, to be honest, with what we achieve in the game as an org, I couldn't do that on this sort of FPS. So, you know, you can choose to move on from this and keep going, or we can keep going down that route, and I can hoof you out for the rest of this stream. It's up to you, buddy. The other thing that I will say is people out there have various drains on their funds. And to come in and to boast about the clearly impressive computer that you've got, and then take the fun out of other people because they don't have as nice a computer from you, is just a bit of a dick thing to do. Okay? So that's where I'm going to leave it. Ball's in your court, my friend. I'm a little bit disappointed because this is not the interactions that you and I normally have, but I'm going to leave it there. Okay? And it's up to you what you do next. But yes, you know, I've made a point from the start of saying that my computer has always been mid-range. I've never been top of the range. That's why I ran the Pimax thing, which, of course, I had better frame rates running a Pimax Crystal Light than I'm getting at the moment. Feel free to explain that one. But this has been the point. When I first started streaming these videos, this is why all my videos had stock footage. Because when I first started playing Star Citizen, I was on a 670 amp. And like my experience in Horizon was like 4 frames a second, right? So it's always been kind of middle of the range. And I think that gives you kind of a better viewpoint to talk to people about how the game runs, because you look at the builds of people like Space and Morph, and we can all be very jealous of that. But for your average user who doesn't have a rig that powerful, the question remains: well, how does the game look? And this was the whole selling point of the 5080. Sorry, the 5080. That's not what I meant. The Crystal Light video. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, my brain's all over the place at the minute. The Crystal Light video was, hey, of course VR looks awesome on like top-end rigs. The question that I was answering was for people like me, and I did a straw poll within Discord of what graphics card have you got, and people were around my range, right? So it was like, okay, this is actually hopefully going to land quite well for people with, for example, 3080s for 10 gigs of RAM to figure out exactly how it is that, you know, this sort of stuff is going to run. But yeah, so absolutely. Yeah, and no one's telling you you're wrong. What they then have to do is, I appreciate there's a lot of stuff at the background that's running also using my GPU. Like, for example, the NVIDIA broadcast software that I mentioned before that does the mic filtering that draws on your GPU directly. That's the stuff that I'm talking about. I don't run that unless I'm using OBS. So, because if I'm not streaming, why am I filtering my mic? So it's that sort of stuff. Anyway, we're not going any further down that road. That's that. The one last thing I wanted to find in here was the Starlight. And do you know what I might do? I might not show me looking around the Starlight, because I kind of want to have a look at that myself and then maybe give that reaction when we do that for real. I feel like I'm kind of jump ahead. No, you're all good, Kingdom. No, it's fine. I think, you know, people are just kind of making similar points or whatever. Yeah, streaming rigs, absolutely. And that's what's going to happen next. So this rig is going to become a streaming rig, and then the PC that I'm very kindly being given will become the gaming rig. But yes, so there's that. So I'm going to go have a look at the Starlight a little bit later on and go and see what I like about it, and then we'll have a look at that a little later on. But I said but again. I'm just going to switch across to this, and this is going to be jittery as fuck until I come back. Ta-da! Right, there we go. Let's kill the game in the background. Yeah, the M80, I think as for everything in the game, You know, the M80 for me is a take it or leave it. It's not like the Perseus. It's not like the Reclaimer. It's not like the Prowler and a couple other ships, which are ships I absolutely love and must own. It's going to be one of those ships that it will probably, for the heavy fighters, I don't know. I want the F8, and that's going to be my single seat heavy fighter. If I'm going to go and get myself another heavy fighter, the chances are that what I'm going to go and grab is a Scorpius or a Hurricane, something that's two-seater. So, you know, it opens up slightly different gameplay opportunities in terms of... Sorry, bear with me just a second. I don't know if that interrupted the stream, but Star Citizen doesn't want to close. There we go. That's better. Fixed it. So yeah, that's... Oh, there you go. That was me fixing it. Ta-da! Oh God, I've lost my train of thought. So yeah, it opens up another gameplay opportunity having someone else in a heavy fighter with you. It might be that I get to the point where I'm able to do an M80, but, you know, I'm one of those people, I'm never going to be perfect at PvP, not because I don't practice or not because I'm just not suited to it, but because I go for the stuff that I like, which often results in me taking, like, suboptimal ships, whether it's, you know, or non-meta ships, and just having to fight through like that. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I just know that for a lot of other people, you know, obviously if you want to get involved a lot in those sorts of things, then, yeah, you know, choosing, for example, I don't know, choosing the F8 might not be the best choice. Choosing the Guardian MX might not be the best choice, but it will be more ships that I enjoy rather than anything else. So there we go. So are you streaming on Twitch? I'm not. I will not engage with Twitch. I will potentially a little bit later on down the line have a look at some other streaming platforms, but I won't touch Twitch because for reasons that have nothing to do with Star Citizen or gaming, in fact, or anything else. So there we go. It's taken over half an hour to put my M80 in the hangar. Well, that's something else that might be quite good fun, is now that it's been over an hour, let's have a look at what damage the initial part, the initial sales of... 936,000 in the first hour. That's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. So yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, exactly that. You like what you like. If the world was perfect, it wouldn't be. Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing with gaming, and this is why I hate getting into the whole should I buy, should I not buy. It's gaming. We like what we like, and you know, I've never seen good things come from people not buying what they like and just, you know, being told to buy this other thing that they're really not convinced of. I'm sure sometimes people have positive experiences with that, but there is still that lingering, but I really like that. And I think there's also a sense of satisfaction of being that sort of, I like this ship, and it's not potentially a meta or a very effective choice, but through practice and experience, you can make it far more effective than it actually is. And people will come up against, you know, I don't know, pick a ship, right? Out there are people who fly Auroras, Mark 1s, and you know, Mustangs and all that sort of stuff, and they're incredibly good at it. And compared to all the other Aurora and Mustang pilots, you come up against one of those, and it's going to be an absolute culture shock. I'm okay being that sort of pilot. So, yeah, that's where I am with fighters and stuff. So yeah, sub 1 million an hour. Yeah, absolutely. Triton Arena Commander. It was easy to get into Vandal's Swarm, says Space Saga. Yeah, adult money, says Richard. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so I will be honest with you, right? I'm just going to go back to, I'm very lucky in that I have some very, very generous friends. Okay, in that much of the fleet that you see before you here, I am not responsible for. Like I said, like everything at the moment, for the last few years now, everything has been piled into this house that I'm buying. Because everything will get cheaper. It's a cheaper part of the country. It means cheaper taxes. It means cheaper mortgage instead of rent, which is really bizarre in the UK. It means that paying for my own house is cheaper than paying to stay in somebody else's. Weird. It's just, yeah. So it's going to be a very, very big change for me. And also the fact that because I'll be travelling to and from work, they're going to put me up at a hotel. They're going to pay my food. They're going to pay my travel, which means my fuel costs is going to drop through the floor. My food costs are going to drop through the floor. I'm not going to be at home burning through electricity and everything else for certain periods. And it might have an interruption on this, but it means in the future things are bright, because once I've done that, I can then go back to, I've not touched any sort of, buy now, pay later thing for better kit, because that counts as taking out credit. And when you're saving for a deposit for a mortgage, that's just a shit idea. Don't do that. So yeah, that's where we are. Rent is criminal here, says Bamsworth. Yeah, it is. It's rough. Not enough month at the end of the money, says Richard. Nice. Yeah, that. It's similar to a lot of US houses. Rent and mortgage is similar, but that down payment will wreck you. That's where it's been going. It's that, and then all of the other costs associated with conveyancing, and I think it's realty, you guys call it, but all the conveyancing and stuff is nightmare. Anyway, that's like a real kind of real world rant. The other thing I will say is, just at the moment, I'm not as present in the Discord. I'm not as present in terms of making videos. I will do these, but this is probably going to be the limit of it for the next couple of weeks. There's a lot going on at work. It's causing issues with my sleep, that sort of stuff. It's nothing bad. It's very, very hectic. And I, as you remember, at the end of last year, there was a thing, and I needed to kind of come down off of that and get to be where I'm sleeping better. And that is a work in progress. So it's not that I'm suddenly giving up. Don't read this as I'm giving up on the channel or I'm giving up on the game, or none of that. It's just I need a little bit of time just to chill out, stabilize the whole thing, right the ship, as it were, and then we will be back with a vengeance. It's a bit of a shame, because what I was hoping to do now was really start to build some momentum, so that when Squadron come out, if CIG do something with Squadron and give that out, I was hoping to be on their radar when that happened. Chances are now, at under 4,000 subscribers, that's not going to happen right now. Okay, but it's fine, because I've got Squadron, and I've also got a gift copy that I'm going to be giving away when it launches, as we've talked about many times before. Yeah, so take care of yourself, Suzanne. I appreciate that, mate, and I'm doing my best. And it will balance out, I'd say. It's just sometimes real life gets in the way. And like we said, this is a hobby. This is a passion project. It's not a job, so it's not like I need to do this to survive. It just means that sometimes other things take precedence. So yeah, that's where we are. M80 put an origin jump works on the floor when the ramp stairs are down. Is that what it is? Is there a light underneath it that sticks out? That's kind of cool. I do like that. That sort of stuff I think is a really nice touch with a lot of ships and stuff. But yeah, there we go. So that's where we are, I think. What we have coming up next, let's just have a quick look. I'm just going to have a very quick... I've just realised, like an idiot, I've just closed that hanger link window, so I'm going to have to go back and sort all that out again. But that's fine. It's not like I'm doing anything else this evening, other than I'm going to put that cider back in the fridge. I'm going to go get myself a new one. I like cold. Cold is good. So very, very quickly then, just transition across to this. Do the noises. So next up, May 18th and 19th. So this is Monday evening. I will hopefully be around for this at 5 o'clock. We have the Misk Starlight coming alongside Mirai, Argo, and Greycat. And we'll, yeah. Taki, what was that? Was that the sound effect, Jungle? How very dare you? Just rude. I'm doing my best, all right? So yeah, Greycat, Argo, Mirai, and Misk all coming on Monday. We'll be around for that as well. It might be 5 o'clock rather than 5:15 because I will once again be rushing home to work, and it will be t-shirt up here, work everything down below. Not that you needed to know that, but you have that mental image now, and there's nothing you can do about it. So there. Okie dokie. So, yep, that's it for today. I think we're going to draw stumps there. That's probably enough of playing this game. It's been lovely to see you all. Thank you very much for bearing with me. I am slightly tired. I am slightly grumpy, but I'm doing my best. And it was a good call on the Diet Coke, guys, because I think I probably would have fallen asleep at some point in Westerns, and no one needs a 5-hour stream of me snoring at them, because that would suck. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.